Hi, how is everybody doing? Just checking in. I don't really know why I'm doing this, but I feel like I need to speak and just talk about it, because what's important is that yesterday, Blackout Tuesday, doesn't just become a day and then we go back to, our normal lives. I don't think we can. I don't think we'll ever go back to our normal lives, but we just need to continue the conversation in some way. And for me, yesterday was interesting because it made me realise how, I'm definitely not a kind of a spokesperson when it comes to racism, because I feel like there's people out here that talk about it with much more knowledge. That's their field. Domestic violence is mine, trauma is mine, mental health is mine. Not mine, but you know what I mean. I know my lane. But what was interesting was how I felt yesterday, being able to just talk about how racism has affected me, and other people I know, being able to freely just speak. There was something so liberating about that. And I said it to one of my friends, how sad that actually made me feel at the same time, because it made me realise just how pacified we have been for such a long time. And you give us one day to be ourselves, and that the feeling that it brought was just so freeing, so liberating. I was able to talk about my experience, in the domestic violence field as a founder. It for a long time, I have felt, as much as people can see some of the success I've had, and I'm doing fine. I don't really need it, but for a long time, I've definitely felt quite shut out by a lot of the other domestic violence founders, because they are all white. And I rarely get invited in the same rooms as them, aside from Hestia, who I love. They are like family. But I'm going to be honest, the Women's Aid, Refuge, although Refuge do refer their children to us, but it's very white field, and you don't get invited to a lot of the things. And I don't really care for a seat at the table. It's not that I want one. I don't have the time. But the point is, you don't even get an invite. You don't even get a look in. When there's things about domestic violence going around, unless, it's a particular journalist that's looking for a particular angle, we don't get a look in, and I noticed it, and it did get me down at first, and but I don't care anymore. But what I'm not going to lie, enjoyed about yesterday was being able to talk freely about it, knowing that I can, and realizing how long I had felt like I couldn't, because I didn't want to, upset these people, step on any toes, come across as like an angry, black person, black woman. And for the first time, I was able to do it and felt like I was supported, like I could get away with it. Get away with it. Even that is ridiculous, to say, because this is my truth. This is my experience. This is how I have felt. And, how other people take that is not my problem, because it's my truth. But the truth of that is that I know before yesterday, that would have bothered some people, that would have ruffled some feathers, that would have made me look away, that may have made people think, oh, let's not touch her, she's got an attitude problem, she's this, she's that. And I will continue to talk about this, because I feel like I must. I said in a tweet yesterday that, part of my job is to amplify the voices of young children that have been affected by domestic violence, young people. And I realised that it is also my job to myself and to lead by example by amplifying my own voice first. And if that does ruffle the the feathers of my white counterparts, then so be it, because it's time for them to look at themselves and look at where they have been blockades, gatekeepers to Black women in business that are doing just as a good a job as them, but they have been the gatekeepers of how far we can go. And it would be nice if we could come together, because we don't necessarily do all the same things. We could complement each other in so many ways, and we don't have to. I'm not asking to be a part of some of these things. I'm happy as Free Your Mind. I love the journey we're on our own, but it's okay to endorse. I regularly share refuge things, Hestia things, but I would say we probably don't get the same. And that's, I'm going to say it's okay, but it's not. It's not. And, I think everybody in their respective fields, may feel this way as well when it comes to looking at their white counterparts in their sectors. So this is just a bit of honesty. Yesterday felt sad as well as liberating, and it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop today. It doesn't stop tomorrow. We continue on because we have many, many years of dismantling systems that have held us back, that have caused us not to be able to be in positions where we want to be. And again, like I said, we don't want to beg to have a seat at any tables. We will create our own if we need to. But I do feel like things are about to change. And I hope things are about to change. And the last thing I just want to say is, it's been incredibly heavy and emotional, and I can't think of a day I haven't cried in a week. And so it's just to take care of yourself, breathe, use the different medicines that you have, which might be to listen to music, exercise, stretch, turn off your TV, talk to a friend, cook yourself a nice meal. Do what you can to love on yourself and take care of yourself. And because I know it's hard not to want to engage and indulge in what's happening and what's being said. I as much as I say to myself, today I'm not going to look at anything, today I'm not going to read anything, before you know it, I'm like this, innit? Because it matters. You can't just turn your back on what matters to you. So I guess the main thing is to just have some balance in that, to make sure that you are okay, because this is trauma. This is trauma. If people, are sick and tired of hearing about the racism, this is trauma. This is not only racism, this is trauma. Racism is trauma. So if that's one way, that some people need to understand it as, then explain it to them that way, because it is trauma. And if you are a trauma survivor, you will know exactly what that means and how that feels. And we can't deny people's trauma. So take care of yourself, and try and get a balance where you can. Lots of love.